On literally my first day going full-time on OnlyFans, I got hit with this nonsense. A strike on my account where I had to fill out a deactivation appeal form. I just finished working my notice period and was ready for a fresh start, and then I got hit with the realization that I could lose it all before I even really started going full-time. So in this video, I will talk about what I did to get in trouble, my appeal, a little talk with my solicitor, OnlyFans response, and what I'm going to do moving forward. And if you stay to the end, you'll hear an update of what happened when I escalated and threatened legal action. On the 31st of December, I had a new sub come in, and whenever someone joins, I spend some time trying to get to know them. I think about this stage a lot, like a new Tinder chat. You spend the first few conversations finding common ground and just getting to know each other. But unlike Tinder, we both don't blank each other the next day. I do prefer starting with a bit of banter rather than just jumping straight into NSFW chats, but if that's where the conversation goes, then that's totally cool too. One of the many questions I asked him was what he was into, which I like as a question because they can pretty much choose if they want to answer it in a SFW way, telling me about their hobbies, or transition to talking about NSFW topics. It's all around a pretty safe question. He answered by telling me a few of his kinks. The exact answer he gave was bondage, role-playing, and public sex. How about you? Before I get to my answer, I knew that public stuff is against the rules. So I responded with, bondage, role-playing, and public sex are all of some of my favorite things to do. What type of role-playing do you like the most? So I related to him and then moved the conversation to a safe topic. Also, I thought, because that was the message that got flagged up. And the message under my strike was, content features nudity in a place where the general public is or may be visible. There are two things to unpack there. Content features nudity just isn't true. I just wrote words down in a DM, but the more important part is imposing your nudity on the unconsenting public. There's no way that happened, as again, I said words to one person in a private message. If we take a closer look at the terms of service to see which rules block public stuff, we can see that there are two. Point 1. In the case of content featuring public nudity was recorded in or is being broadcast from a country, state or province where public nudity is illegal, or point 2. In the case of content featuring sexual activities was recorded in or is being broadcast from a public place where members of the public are reasonably likely to see the activities being performed. This does not include outdoor places where members of the public are not present, for example, private property, such as a private backyard, or secluded areas in nature where members of the public are not present. One of the worst parts of my previous jobs was dealing with lawyers, but luckily for me now, I have access to some pretty great ones like James. James is now a close friend who has helped me write many term sheets for various mergers over the years. Our firm would use both in-house and external lawyers who would deal with the minutiae. And James was one who worked at a Magic Circle firm, which is a pretty big flex in the legal world. So you'd think my appeal should be a slam dunk. I told them what had happened, how it didn't break the rules stated, and that if the words public sex are banned, then they should be removed at the source, similarly to how we can't write the word meat. I made sure to write it all in an apologetic tone and let them know I had read the rules and tried to abide by them to the best of my ability. I explained that I would not even say those words moving forward.
We do not speak his name. Voldemort.
But just thought it wasn't fair to be banned over something that isn't clearly stated in their terms of service. OnlyFans responded with the following email. Hello Quinn, thank you for completing their deactivation appeal form. We have considered your appeal and the evidence you provided. After careful consideration due to breaches of our terms of service and acceptable use policy, the message will remain deactivated. This decision is final. To avoid deactivation in the future, please refer to our terms of service and acceptable use policy. In addition, our Creator's Guide to Content Moderation sets out the most common reasons content is removed from OnlyFans. Your patience and understanding are most appreciated. Frank. Well, Frank, there is no understanding from me. I think their response was very poor, stating just that I breached the guidelines and not even telling me which guidelines or how I breached them. especially after I messaged them quoting all the relevant guidelines and explaining why I believe my message didn't violate them. It just feels like they didn't read or acknowledge my message and just sent me a cookie cutter response. 20% is a big cut that they take from all our earnings, so you'd expect a better level of service. To make things worse, if they take you down, they're going to keep all the money you've earned that is logged, so at least 7 days of income from you. But enough complaining. Clearly I'm annoyed, but I'm a practical person, so what can I do better moving forward? Is Slushy or Fansly the answer? Well, no. I stated in a previous video that I'm not going to endorse Slushy or Fansly as I don't think they are worth it. To explain why, I'm going to play devil's advocate and explain why OnlyFans are the way they are. A lot of girls talk about OnlyFans not being NSFW friendly, and it sure feels that way, but that's not the case. It's the banks that are not NSFW friendly. OnlyFans made over $5 billion in revenue, and while that sounds like a lot of money to most people, to all major banks it's not enough. Earning a tiny percent of that through being their payment processors opens them to a lot of scrutiny that comes from working with the adult industry. Doing OnlyFans may seem amazing, especially from someone making as much as me. But the reality is, the adult industry is flooded with exploitation, and unless OnlyFans can guarantee that none is happening on their platform, then why would banks risk losing much bigger and more important clients by having a scandal that would come from facilitating exploitation? To them, it's just not worth the risk, and to make things worse, banks are pretty much the unofficial regulators of the market, because if the banks won't process your payments, then your business can't run. Now, OnlyFans isn't unique here. Every adult platform struggles with this issue, and the bigger you are, the harder it is to fly under the radar. That's why OnlyFans banned NSFW content in 2021 because of pressure from the banks. And as these other platforms get bigger, they will have to deal with the same issues. So what's the solution? For me, it's to open up my own adult website. It's going to take time because there's no Squarespace for the adult industry yet, nothing with integrated payment processes. But hey, if you're a developer who wants to set that up as a business, hit me up. Because currently I've been quoted some pretty unreasonable amounts to get this website going, especially when you compare it to what it would cost to make the same SFW version of the website. Long term, I've toyed with the idea of opening a niche bank that is adult industry friendly. One that wouldn't shut down creators' bank accounts and one that would let other adult businesses open accounts. It's a long-term plan, but something I've been thinking about since the day I started OnlyFans. In the UK, we can't even recognise our OF money as income towards mortgage payments, because OF models' income is expected to decrease with age, as if this is an issue they've already dealt with athletes. Having my professional background as a VP at a major bank puts me in a pretty unique situation to make this happen. Anyway, until next time, and please subscribe. So this is where the video was meant to end, but actually the following week I got a second strike. This one was because the video had the following words in the title: your wife's slutty little sister. Now the rules state no incest, which of course I knew and therefore avoided, but I had assumed that the use of the word sister must have automatically flagged something up. Therefore, it was surprising when I saw in the strike it said, following a manual review of your account. Regardless, even after my first interaction with OF over this, I still felt hopeful that I could appeal this, so I emailed them quoting their rules and explaining how I didn't break them. They got back to me confirming that it was because they believe I broke their incest rules and that their decision was final.
Huh?
Most people would probably feel pretty disheartened here. I know I did, but that didn't stop me. So I went back to them with an Oxford definition of incest, explained how this relationship clearly didn't meet that, and also escalated things by spelling out to them the legal repercussions of banning me over this, that they have now stated which rules I had broken, and how I clearly did not break the rules stated. In addition to all that, the loss of income from a ban would be my damages that I could sue for. It's actually a really clear-cut and simple case. I showed and proved that I had legal representation, and for once, they didn't get back to me within a day. This time, it took a few extra days. And when they did, I got the response I wanted, with my content reactivated. I do want to say that even though OnlyFans and I were on different ends of the disagreement, I'm glad they listened and handled everything professionally. Most of my audience who have an OnlyFans are smaller than me, but if you're making 5 figures a month, I would really recommend finding a solicitor you trust, because they can help mitigate a lot of problems you will inevitably face at some point doing this job.